Welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel is dedicated to Georgia State PTA Reflections program, and I'm your Georgia State PTA Reflections Specialist, Angie Dover. If you ever have any questions or need any help with your program, please contact me at my email address, which is reflections@Georgia, spell out the whole word, PTA.org. You will notice there are several videos on this YouTube channel that go over more specific details of the other areas of the program. This video is only going to be a general overview of the entire Reflections program, so I invite you to check out the other videos to get more specific details and more information about the other areas of the program. The Reflections promise is to help all students explore their own thoughts, feelings, and ideas, develop artistic literacy, increase confidence, and find a love for learning that will help them become more successful in school and in life. How does the program work? Well, each year there is a theme selected by National PTA, and the students reflect on that theme, and then they create their own original works of art, and they submit those works of art, and then their artistic abilities are celebrated by their school and their families and their community. PTA also celebrates the arts and education. This year, the National Arts and Education Week is September 8th through the 14th, and then every month of always in the month of October, is the National Arts and Humanities Month. You can find a flyer for the National Arts and Humanities and Arts and Education on the Georgia PTA website that you can download to display to celebrate those two special arts and education events this year. As I stated before, each year there is a different theme that has been pre-selected by National. There is a theme search contest that the students can enter, and if their entry is chosen as the theme, they do win a monetary prize of $100. There are theme search entry forms that can be downloaded from the Georgia PTA website, and there's more information about those on the entry forms video. Getting started with your program. So the first step that they recommend is that you register your program with National PTA, and to do that you just go to pta.org/reflections, and then once you're on there, it will ask you certain information about your school name, the PTA name, your PTA ID number, your name, your email address, your phone number, your address, I believe still, information about your school, approximately how many students are in your school, approximately how many get free and reduced lunch. Simple to fill out. Once you're finished, you click submit, and then you'll get a screen that says thank you for registering your program with National PTA. If you don't get that screen, then something has gone wrong and you need to go back and re-register. Now, I will tell you that normally the busiest times of the year for that website is during August and September when school first starts, so you can wait till later in the year, October, November. You have until February of the following year to get your school program registered, so there's no rush. So if you want to wait until that website is not as busy, then that is totally fine. There is a checklist that you can download from Georgia PTA website, and I do like this checklist and recommend it because it helps you to keep track of things and to remind you of what you need to be doing at certain times. There's more information about that in the checklist and judging rubric video. When you start your program, you want to recruit volunteers to help you. It is always nicer and more fun to have more folks helping out, plus many hands make light work. So it is helpful to have more folks. If you can get a whole committee, that's great, or even just a co-chair to help with some of the tasks like the advertising of the program, or recruiting judges, those kinds of things. It's just easier if you have another set of hands. You want to announce your program and the call for entries. So you want to promote your program. There's lots of ways to do that. There are flyers that National PTA makes, and that is discussed in another video. The one for this year looks something like that. As you can see, it has the theme on it, but it also has a place to put your information so that you can put when the entries are due back to you, where to drop off the entries, where your email and your phone number, or just some way to contact you in case they have questions, and of course your name so that they know who the Reflections Chair is for the school. You want to promote the program by advertising it everywhere you can. Put up posters and flyers. If you have a morning news program that runs, make a commercial for that program, advertising the Reflections program kickoff, when it's due, when the entries come back to you, and pick a central located place where kids can find it easily, like the media center. Usually everybody knows where that is in the school, and so I like to use that as my place to pick up entry forms, as well as the place to drop off the entries when they're due back to me. I usually just put out a big laundry basket or a big box to collect the entries with. So check with your media specialist and see, if that's okay to do that. You can also put it out in your e-blast, the due dates and such. Put your entry forms on your website, your PTA website, as well as print out hard copies of the student entry form and put in your centrally located place. You want to put the entry form for the theme search contest on your website as well, but you don't necessarily need to print out hard copies of that. Sometimes it's easier just to leave it on your website and let the students fill that out. There are 6 categories that the students can participate in: dance choreography, musical composition, film or video, photography, literature, and visual arts. And with visual arts, you have 2D and 3D that they can enter in. There are size limitations for all these categories, so please check out the categories video to get more specific details on the size limitations of these, and the packaging entries video to see how they should be packaged. The divisions, we have 5 divisions in the Reflections program. The first one is the primary division, which is pre-K through 2nd grade. The intermediate division is 3rd grade through 5th grade. The middle school division is 6th grade through 8th grade, and then the high school division is 9th grade through 12th grade. Also, special artist has been added as a division. National did this about 2 years ago, and so it is now located under divisions. And so if you have a special artist student participating, that is the area they would find the special artist box to check. You want to also start getting your judges as soon as you start your program. You want to have those ready to go so that when you have your entries turned in, you are ready with those judges. Start recruiting them from anywhere. You can get judges from all over the place. Don't use the teachers or staff at your own school, however, because they will be familiar with those students that are participating and may be a little biased, and you never want to have that. But go to other schools and get judges from there. Go to the middle school or the high school if you're in elementary school and ask their band director to judge your music entries, or get the literature teachers to judge your lit entries. Or if you have a business partner with your PTA that has any kind of artistic things going on, like we had one time a pottery studio place that was our business partner, ask them to help judge your entries as part of their business contract with you. That way, that gives them an extra thing that they can do to help your school, but it also provides you with a judge. You can get judges from other areas in the community, photography studios, dance studios, any place like that. You can use choir director at church for music videos. For the musical composition. They're judges you can find almost anywhere. After the entries are all turned in and you are getting them prepared for the judges, you want to just glance over the entry forms, make sure that everything's on there, the student information, your information, a title, an artist statement, those kinds of things are all there. You want to make sure that they are in good shape to travel. If you have to take a visual art entry somewhere, if you have to take those to the judges, make sure that they're all protected if they need to be. Like if you have a pastel or a chalk entry, visual art piece, you want to make sure that that's wrapped so that it's protected. Otherwise, it might rub up against another entry and the piece would be degraded and not be able to be judged when it reaches its location. Once you get those back, you want to pick out your top 2 winners for each grade for each category. Those will be the ones who move on to the next level of participation. And then you want to have 2 that could take those places if something happens to your top 2 and they got disqualified for some reason. Then you would have 2 to put in their place. So just the top 2 for each grade for each category goes forward, and then have 2 that could take their place if needed. If you are a local school unit, your next level of participation would be your council or your region or your area. If you are a council or region or area, your next level of participation would be the state, which is me. The deadline to turn in the entries to Georgia State PTA is Friday, December 6th. So the council or area or region deadline is normally like a month prior to that. So around the 1st of November, end of October. I know my council deadline for me is October 25th. So I backed up my due date 2 weeks from that date for my entries to be turned in so that I have enough time to get them together, get them judged, and do the celebration if I want to. You can do your celebration anytime, either before you take them to the next level or after you get them back. At my level, I am at the high school level now, and I usually do my local school celebration once I get my entries back from council. If I have ones that move on to the state level, I take pictures of all my entries before I move them forward, so that way if I need to print out a picture of one that's going on to the next level, I can, to make a display of those entries. And again, I asked my media specialist, can I put those on display in the media center? And then I have my celebration during the school day, because again, I'm at the high school level, and it's easier to do high school and middle school kids during the school day because they have so much going on after school. You're not going to catch them for an after school celebration, and it's usually very simple. Cupcakes and water, and have the entries on display, and I give out certificates of participation and ribbons because I have that much money in my budget. I can do that. If you don't have that much money in your budget, only give out a certificate of participation. You can find a sample certificate of participation on the Georgia PTA website that you can download and fill them in and make copies for yourself to give out, and then it only costs you copy paper, which usually you can get from the school even. So that is available on the Georgia State PTA website. You could also go to shoppta.org, and they have ribbons and medallions and trophies, again, depending on what your budget is, as to what you can provide. Invite your principal and the parents to the celebration so that, they can take pictures with the principal, get the principal to help you hand out the certificates. You don't necessarily have to have a huge ceremony or anything like that. It could be very simple. Just announce their names, the artwork that they did, and then give them their certificates, or even just put it on display and just have the principal there so that, they are aware of what students had participated in reflections and they can see the artwork that was done. And then I try to make sure I display it at some point for at least a week in my media center so that the whole school can see the artwork, and have it labeled with the child's name, what category it is, what grade they are, that kind of thing. Once you have celebrated your students and you have your entries ready to go to the next level and you drop them off at the next level, the entries that did not move on to the next level, you want to return those. So once you take the top 2 for each grade for each category to the next level, then you can return everything else. After you have dropped them off at the next level and you've done your celebration, wrap up your program. make notes. Look at things that you thought worked well in your program this year and things that you didn't think went well. If someone complained about something, write that down and think about how maybe you could change that for next year, or the chair that's going to be there next year. But make notes for whomever is going to be in that position next year so that they can look at those things and maybe tweak the program a little bit at your school. Coming up in the near future, hint, you will be asked to submit the student entries to the student entry portal at the National PTA website. And there is actually a place where you go in there and you enter the student information, you enter their entry information, and then that way, once it moves on to the next level, that next person can just click on that entry and put it as promoted to the next level or whatever, instead of having to enter all that stuff in again. Again, that's not something that we're doing currently, but that is something that is coming down the road. So look for that. It's not that difficult to do. I'm probably the least tech savvy person ever, and I can do it. So if I can, anybody can. I want to thank you for tuning into this video, and I hope you found it helpful. Again, there are other videos on this channel that go into more specific details about other areas of the program, so I hope you will check those out. But if you ever have questions or you need help with your own program, please contact me at my email address, which is reflections@Georgia, spelling out the whole word, PTA.org. And thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.